all I wanted to do was make it. Then I got a contract in Japan. I got to Japan and all I wanted to do was go to WWE. Then I missed Japan. Then when I was in WWE, I was just fighting for a spot, fighting for this, fighting for that. I didn't want to be in WWE anymore. Then I got fired from WWE, and all I wanted was to be back in WWE. Then I got to WWE and I didn't want to be there either anymore. So it was like constantly. And when I look back though, I wish I just would have really continued wanting more like always, but I wish I would have enjoyed every single moment.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by Unlocking Greatness with Jacob Emery, a coaching community built for those ready to become the strongest version of themselves. Weekly calls, proven playbooks, and a community built to grow. Greatness is not given, it's unlocked. Join us today at jacobemery.com or DM coach at jacobemery44 on all social media platforms. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast. And holy shit, Batman, do we have a fucking special guest today. I hope everyone's energetic. I hope everyone is standing up, ready for this bad motherfucker coming on right now. The machine gun is what he is called by the people. Karl Anderson, welcome to the show, my dude. Thank you for your time today.
Take your max effort muscle pre-workout to the head, right to the head.
Right there, right to the dome. Let's go.
So right to the dome. When I saw Corey doing that back in the day, I was like, man, this guy's insane. Then I did it, and now I really can't get the day going without it, man. The sour gummy is where I'm at. But I appreciate you having me on, man. We've been trying to get this thing rocking for a while. Our schedules are both crazy, and it's good to be on here and talk to the people of this world. Some people call me the machine gun. Some people call me Karl Anderson. Some people call me Chad Allegra. I see that I have machine gun in here from a previous interview that I forgot that I did it on this platform, Riverside. So here we are. I guess I have been here before.
Well, you got a machine gun, like that's your nickname, dude. So tell the people a little about yourself, like 60-second overview of who Karl Anderson, the machine gun, is.
60-second interview. I went to college at Mars Hill College. I was playing Division II baseball. I loved professional wrestling my entire life. I quit school after my sophomore year. I don't recommend people to do that, but if you got a burning desire and a dream to do something, dude, do it. But that's what I had. I watched a special on MTV called True Life. I Want to Be a Pro Wrestler. They followed a school in Cincinnati, Ohio. I quit college in North Carolina. I moved to Cincinnati, Ohio. I enrolled at Les Thatcher's Main Event Pro Wrestling Camp in the year 2000. Independent wrestling all the way until 2008, which led me all around the United States and the world on very little money. 2008, I got hired by New Japan Pro Wrestling, where I became the machine gun Karl Anderson, and that was, quote, unquote, my big break. I spent 8 years in New Japan Pro Wrestling. In 2016, the WWE came calling. I went to the WWE for 4 years. 2020, COVID hit. I got released unceremoniously from the WWE. I immediately signed a deal with Impact Wrestling, which is now known as TNA, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, for 2 years, where I did AEW, a return to New Japan. And then we made so much noise in 2 years that WWE called back again, and we returned in 2022, where we did 2.5 years there. And we're unceremoniously released again, but it was for the better. And here we are now, free and live. And, I don't know if that was 60 seconds, but that was a pretty good, quick overview.
Man, that was quick. There's a lot to unpack here, dude. So big breakthroughs in Japan. Talk about that. So you aren't just known locally to the United States. You are known worldwide. And I would say maybe even had a big footprint in Japan that really kind of kickstarted the rest of it. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, for sure, man. When I was 5 years old, I saw the Nature Boy Ric Flair on TV. My dad put it on. on TBS, 6:05 p.m. and on a Saturday, and I was like, dude, what is this? You know, and he took me. I fell in love, man. He took me and watched me. I watched Abdullah the Butcher versus Dusty Rhodes at an armory in North Carolina, and I was obsessed with pro wrestling. I couldn't handle it. The Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, Lex Luger, Nature Boy Ric Flair, Sting, you know, and as I just became more obsessed with the NWO and The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin as I got into high school, and, you know, and then I got into the business, and then I found out that all of my favorites, or a lot of my favorites that I watched as a kid, had started in Japan. And then so then I find this whole other world of professional wrestling. People just think, you know, all they remember is WCW, WWE, TNA, or now there's AEW in America. Man, there's this whole other world called, you know, in Japan, where it's a small country, right? But dude, that's why guys go from the Major League Baseball. You can go over there to and do baseball in the Japanese league and make just as much money and make a splash. And that's what the professional wrestling world in Japan is. And I signed a deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which came at a very crazy time in my life, and it ended up being my dream. My dream was always to be on, my dream was to be on WWE television, I guess, as a kid, or just be a superstar. But once I got into pro wrestling, I fell in love with the art of being inside the ring, and the entertainment value and the actual wrestling and the sport to it. As in Japan, they like to treat it, they still treat it as a sport. And I think no one can really deny the athletic ability that it takes, et cetera, no matter the predetermined outcomes, and it's obviously all scripted and it's a work. But in Japan, they like to keep the athletic and the sport part real pure. And some of those, and watching some of those tapes that I got my hands on, I fell in love with it, man. And so when I was able to go to Japan and have the career that I had there, I mean, that became my dream. Once I started training, was to be able to go to Japan and wrestle. And then I was able to go over there and become a wrestling superstar. And and to even say that sounds crazy, because I come from just a normal, background and a normal life. And yeah, man, Japan still holds a real cool place in my heart. And we're going back over there again, April 22nd, for a couple weeks. And it always excites me, man. It's just a really cool place.
That's super cool, dude. So you didn't have a quick route into the big dream. I always talk about, like, your dream is your fingerprint. It's yours. Fucking own it. Go for it, no matter what it is. No one is going to have the same dream as yours. Everybody has their own unique fingerprint, and that dream is special. The dreams for so many people die, though, and so many people don't actually go pursue their dream, and they let everyone else's dream impact their own, and theirs dies, and everyone else's kind of lives partially. But dude, you went after that thing from very young age, an attraction to it. I remember growing up, Monday Night Raw was like a non-negotiable for me. I would stay up late, 9 p.m. I should be in bed. I'm sitting there sneaking it. I'm putting like a towel underneath the door jamb in my room so nobody can see the lights on. Like, I am hyped about it. And then Thursday Night SmackDown, I would not have it on like cable. I'd be pissed. So I'd be trying to go to my buddy's house to watch it. And I just remember that as a kid, early to mid 2000s, dude, that was like pure love for me as well. And I had that aspiration kind of too that you did. I never even talked about this, to be honest with you, but that was like my entertainment was that. Between that and the Chicago Bulls in the 90s is like the holy grail for me. The athletic ability, talk about scripts and outcomes predetermined. I don't really care, but the entertainment and the pure athletic ability, talk about that real quick, because I think it's probably very underrated as far as how athletic that you guys are. Because I cannot imagine, some of these guys are monsters. Your tag team partner is a monster. He is massive, dude. So talk about the athletic ability and how underrated that probably is overall.
Yeah, and like you just you brought up the Chicago Bulls, but I remember in I think it would have been 1996 or 1997, maybe 1998. They did a thing with Dennis Rodman where Dennis Rodman joined the NWO, and he walked out in Chicago. I think it was at the United Center, I believe. And it was live on Monday Night Nitro, and he came out, and dude, my brother knew I wasn't going to be home. He put the VCR in it and he recorded it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman and Kevin Nash and the NWO. I'm getting chills now talking about it. That's how exciting it still gets me going. But and Kevin Nash and the whole NWO get out of this limo and they walk into the United Center, and you can hear the buzz because Dennis Rodman's a fucking rock star at this time, right? Like they just won another championship, or they're in the middle of the bull season, whatever it was, because Dennis didn't give a fuck, right? He was always causing problems.
Yeah, he didn't care.
But I watched it over and over and over. I mean, I must have watched that entrance, and maybe it's got to be on YouTube. If you get a chance, go search Dennis.
I know exactly
Rodman,
what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I watched it. I must have watched it 55 times, dude. And I'm going, this is it. Like this is what it's all about. And the athletic ability, I just would challenge anybody that would, I get it that, I don't enjoy using this word, but it doesn't matter because it is a fake thing, right? It's just like if you go and watch the television show, the television show Lost. Like Lost is a fake show too, right? It's all built on fiction. It's fictional stuff, just like professional wrestling is. Like we're obviously not trying to beat the shit out of each other, but what it's based on is it's a work sport, and so the athletic ability that you got to have, I think Logan Paul is really showing a lot of that right now, because this dude is a really great athlete and he's such a superstar now. I mean, this guy got so famous from YouTube as a kid, and he came up through the world. He fought Floyd Mayweather, love him or hate him, whatever it is. He's a big superstar now in WWE, and you can see him jumping from the top rope. He's going through the announcers' tables. I mean, there's no way to fake that fall, right? And I'm very fortunate. I just had my first surgery after 20 years, and it was a rotator cuff, October of 2024. And, they told me 6 to 9 months. And like, I really wasn't good until about a year after that. And I was thinking, this is wild, man. But the athletic ability, I believe, it's undeniable. If you just turn the show on, you might not love the acting part or some of the storylines part. I get it. That does get a little carried away, but if you can just have an opportunity to just kind of just look at the athletic stuff, there's no denying it.
Well, it's entertainment. It's not like this script you go follow, and it's not like you're not going to like a dance studio or like a matinee. It's entertainment, but there is no like faking jumping off that top rope into the announcer's box. Like I remember like Hell in a Cell matches, and even love or hate the McMahons, but Shane O'Mac, he would jump off the Hell in the Cell sometimes like 30 feet. I think it was like 28 feet was his highest. I just seen this the other day, and it showed some of the highest jumps. Dude, you can't fake that. Like Jeff and Matt Hardy. Jeff Hardy did some insane shit. I remember watching that as a kid, and I was always told, "Oh, it's fake. That's a bunch of shit, whatever." You're not faking that though. That is pure insanity. Athletic ability being one thing, but the amount of balls and courage you got to have to jump off a cell, the Hell in a Cell, or like off a ladder, dude, that's insane. And for you, my friend, talk about the iron building that fucking infrastructure up, boy. 20 years and only had a rotator cuff, dude. Talk about that longevity. That's incredible.
I'm fortunate. I'm lucky that I was always blessed with natural athletic ability. I obviously, I guess now I can go ahead and just say it. I guess I'm tough. I mean, my wife might not think so, or my friends might not think so, or whatever, but I clearly am. But, you can look it up on YouTube as well. I keep going to YouTube for some reason, but you can look up the New Day versus Gallows and Anderson. We were in Glasgow, Scotland, and we were wrestling for I believe it was a non-title match for the tag team championships versus Kofi Kingston and Big E. And me and Kofi had a spot planned where he was going to kick me in the head. And I always get my hand up last second just to block off the foot. I've just always been really good at that. Mm-hmm. Well, the next thing I know is I'm in the trainer's room and I'm talking to the trainer, and he tells me, "You're in Europe right now. And this is the 10th show of Europe." And I go, "What do you mean this is the 10th show of Europe, the European tour? What are you talking about?" And they all looked at me really sad because that was the 10th time they told me that I got kicked in the head. And I got knocked out cold in the match, but I finished the match and I was on autopilot, So they sent me home. I had to spend a couple of nights in Scotland just to make sure my brain was good. And then I flew home. It's just those little things, those little concussions that add up, those little kicks, those those times you fall out of the ring and your shoulder separates, but you pop it back into place, or you jump from the top rope and you see a white light, and now that the concussion protocols are so good nowadays with all the big companies, and credit to WWE for sending me home right away. And I've been very fortunate. I got hurt in Japan a couple times where I probably should have sat it out, but it's just not. I'm just not built. We're just not built that way, right? When you want something so bad, I mean, my ankle. I could barely walk on my ankle. Wrap it up, and let's go out there and do what we do. But I think just the natural abilities I've had, that have been how fortunate I've been to not have had crazy amount of injuries. I'm very lucky.
Well, I mean, that luck from the repetition in the weight room and natural athletic ability or not, you got to have some like density, some stability. I mean, the weight training and the years of that weight room create that ability to have, that toughness and that grit. That's what this show's all about, dude. The Iron built my personal and professional infrastructure, lifting weights at a young age, overcoming being bullied and harassed and whatnot, being a fat kid growing up. Like, that was my first foundation with the Iron. And then on the professional side, being heavy equipment in the pipeline world. And that's the Iron that built my personal and professional infrastructure. But dude, I tell you what, there is a different level of confidence that someone can have from knowing that you got 20 years in the weight room, 20 years of stability, doing the thing day in and day out. That compound effect of not missing, like showing up, making the lifestyle about putting you first, waking up early, doing the thing. That speaks a lot of volume. We don't know each other that well. We've only met a couple of times, but 20 years of not having hardly any injuries in a sport that is so physically demanding and so prone to injury. You hear all these stories about, guys getting addicted to painkillers just to be able to be stable enough to go out and do their thing, and like always having all these injuries. And to only have a rotator cuff for 20 years, brother, that's pretty damn impressive.
No, for sure. I'm really lucky with that. And, I got out of shape probably 17, 18, 19, and I've been out of shape. I fluctuated here and there. I went to Japan. I would drink beer almost every day because just that was just kind of the lifestyle on the road. I kind of fell into the lifestyle of being on the road. And that's why I'm now almost 2.5 years sober, which is a beautiful thing for me. I needed to stop drinking. But, even when I was in Japan and I was heavier and I was drinking every night, I was still getting up. And I don't like looking back at some of the pictures, and I had a big fucking gut, but I was still having great matches. I was still handling business. I was never missing shows. I was never that kind of crazy drunken guy. I just drank too much at night. But my point being, I still got up and I would go do my walk. I would go do yoga. I would go to the gym and work out. I would turn in Japan, the Japanese bathrooms turn into full-blown steam rooms. It's just the way they are in all the hotels. So I would every day, it's 30 minutes inside of that, some kind of weights, some kind of ab wheels. I mean, been following Corey Gregory since I believe it was probably 2010. So I haven't always had abs, but I've always done ab wheels. So every time I got lean like I am now, they're able to pop out. And so, dude, I started working out probably in the 8th grade, man. So, I think all of that obviously compounds into keeping a healthy lifestyle and keeping myself from breaking down. And I still have so many more things I want to do now. And this past year, being away from the WWE, we're doing 2 and 3 shows a weekend. Like this weekend, Friday, I go to Tijuana, Mexico, where we're wrestling for the Crash Lucha Libre, where there's going to be 5,000 people. Then we go to Spokane, Washington, where there's a 3,000 people show. Then we come back and we got the next weekend somewhere else. I haven't even seen my schedule yet, but I'm still rocking right now, and I got to keep myself going. So that's why today I was up at 4 a.m. and I did my workout, I did my walk, I did my stretches, and I even did extra stuff when the baby was hanging out over here. It's just constantly keeping yourself going and keeping yourself moving and keeping yourself active, man, just to be able to keep this train rolling.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I just turned 37 in January, and the older I get, the better shape I'm in and the less I'm actually doing, but the more like non-negotiable my structure is, where my workouts are like 45 minutes in the morning. Sometimes I'll pump out maybe an hour and a half at the most, but I don't need to do that anymore. Like I'm to a point now where I don't want to call it cruise control. I just know me so well. I know exactly what I need to do to get through and progress. So I'm doing the least amount of work for the most amount of progression, but I'm not going past that red line because it's not about that intensity anymore. I'm a fairly intense person by nature, but it's about long-term consistency for me. And I've been doing it a long time. And it's the best thing I ever did was realize a couple years ago, I went into a powerlifting meet and like I wanted to bench 450. That was kind of my thing. And I've done 435 is my best yet. But I've done a 500-pound floor press. I trained at Westside for 3-4 years. So I've done some pretty I've been in that elite environment for a while. But I know right now is not that season. My business life is pretty chaotic. I got a heavy weight there. Sometimes your competition just is a little bit different than what you had originally. My physical pursuit, though, is to keep my mental game strengthened and to get through with resiliency what I'm going through outside of that. Sometimes your competition and what a win is, you just have to redefine it. My competition isn't powerlifting me or a bodybuilding show right now. It's kicking ass in business. And understanding you can't do it all. You got to focus on that one thing. And the freedom part that you're talking about with what you're doing right now, I fucking love it, dude. That's what it's all about. We sacrifice so much for so long to get freedom, but the freedom ends up becoming our sacrifice. Talk about the freedom part for you, the 2 years of being sober. Congratulations, by the way. Shout out to that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is this all coming freedom, sobriety? You mentioned a kid. Talk about the last couple of years and what kind of transpired for you.
Yeah, dude, and freedom is it's so true too, because isn't that the dream though, to be able to, everybody wants money. I want $100 million. I want $25 million. I want this, I want that, dude. I just want to be free to go do what I want to do when I want to do it, and be able to do it how I want to do it, and not have to be told that I can do this or do that. I mean, and that's what working so hard for. Yeah, that's what you work so hard for. Is that freedom. I have 5 kids now. Right? I have five boys, 5 sons, all with my wife, and they're 15, 14, 11, 7, and 2, and so they see dad, they see dad in the gym. This is my gym here now. I got my gym / office. And so they know how important it is to keep it tight and keep moving and keep doing what I'm supposed to do. They know how hard it is. They've seen me go through leaving the house for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks. Then they see me come home and they see me get right into the gym. They see me be fired. They've seen me have to regain my composure. They've seen me where I haven't been at my best when I have been hungover, and they knew that I was hungover, and it was those kind of things where I was like, fuck, but I'm happy that they were able to see that, because then they see the battle back and they realize that, dad isn't a loser, right? He might have messed up here, but look, my dad got fired because, unlike a lot of people, they can just Google their dad and it can say, hey, look, Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows released in April of 2020. Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson rehired or brought back to this awesome, amazing reaction in 2022 at the Barclays Center, which is something you dream of. And then they can also go and see that Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson were fired in 2022. So they've seen dad go up and down, but then they see dad keep fighting and keep doing and keep going for what he goes for, because I have different kinds of dreams now. I have dreams of continuing wrestling. Of course, I love pro wrestling. I continue to dream that, but I also have different dreams of getting into radio. We've been talking to a lot of awesome things now. There's Sirius Radio that has a 24/7 pro wrestling channel. I mean, there's so many different avenues that you can keep shooting for and keep aspiring for, man, that there's so much cool stuff out there in the world that you can never let yourself feel too comfortable, even though you want the freedom, but then you want to keep pushing, in my opinion.
So, dude, I love it because I call it destination disease. So if I enjoy the journey, don't have destination disease. we have all accomplished things that we said would make us happy. 100 million, 25 million. You put this tangible thing right there, you go get it, and then you think that's what it's going to take for me to have fulfillment. That's what it's going to take for me to have meaning. But as soon as you say, I need this thing to have meaning, that means today doesn't mean a thing. Like there's a gap, a discrepancy between where you're at and what meaning is. But everybody has meaning every moment of the day that they are alive. It's just knowing that here's where I want to go. This is what the journey looks like. I have to find joy in that journey, though, because at the end of it, you can probably relate to this better than anybody, but you want freedom as an outcome, but you want freedom to do what you want during that journey too. It's not just about where you end up at, it's about enjoying the process of getting it. And I know for me, my biggest accomplishment was buying R&R Pipeline at 30 years old. And I thought that was going to be the thing that made me happy, dude. And I figured out the hard way that it wasn't the accolade. It wasn't the thing that was tangible. It wasn't the ownership of the company, that the impossible purchase, this big thing that would have never been feasible for me to go accomplish. I did the thing and I felt nothing, but it was the person I became that was able to buy it. That was the win. And it took me a couple of years to figure it out after that. You know, we talk about freedom. I call it the 4 C's to free. We got to have the clock. So time to do what you want. Living life on your terms, your schedule is yours. You own it. You're not doing a 9 to 5, making someone else wealthy. You're doing life on your terms. Capital. You got to have the money. Money is the tool, the resource that allows you to do these things. So you got to have the capital, and then your community. Like you got to have the right environment. You got to be around the right people. You got to have a community of people that want to grow. And the last one's your calling. What's your purpose? What's your mission? What are you doing all this shit for? Just figuring out what your why is very hard for a lot of people. That's my 4 C's to free, man. And that's what freedom looks like to me.
Yeah, dude, that's so true. And people ask me all the time, what's your yeah, what's your best thing? What's your favorite thing that you've done? Or, what do you miss about this or that? Or do you wish you were in the WWE still, or this and that? And it's like, man, I just look back now and I wish even in 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, when I was living in Cincinnati and I was driving a beat down Ford Explorer that was always breaking down. And I'd have to, walk in the freezing cold in Cincinnati to get gas from there and drive and walk back up. I remember those times thinking, oh man, this is terrible. This isn't going well. But dude, I just really, really wish I would have taken time like I am right now. I'm doing a lot better with it now, is just really enjoying. And I know it sounds when you're in the middle of it as a 20-year-old or a 22-year-old or a 23-year-old, dude, you just got to really enjoy the journey, man. Like, all I wanted to do was make it. Then I got a contract in Japan. I got to Japan and all I wanted to do was go to WWE. Then I missed Japan. Then when I was in WWE, I was just fighting for a spot, fighting for this, fighting for that. I didn't want to be in WWE anymore. Then I got fired from WWE and all I wanted was to be back in WWE. Then I got to WWE and I didn't want to be there either anymore. So it was like constantly. And when I look back though, I wish I just would have really continued wanting more like always, but I wish I would have enjoyed every single moment. And that's kind of what probably this last year has been the most fulfilling for me, is I've just been really trying to just enjoy every moment, because for a long time I identified myself with I'm a WWE guy. Every moment I fall asleep, I'm thinking about when I get to TV on Monday, I got to fucking go talk to this writer. I got to do this, or I can't believe we got to do this shit when we get there. Then it's affecting my home life. Now I'm not present with my children when my kids they don't give a shit that I'm pissed off about what's going on at Raw or SmackDown or whatever. I wish I could have been able to just kind of sit back and unidentify myself with that a little bit. But sometimes when you're high strung brothers like we are, and we want more and more and more, it's hard to turn that thing off. But I've been doing a really good job lately of just trying to stay present. And that's, if there's any advice I can give, it's really trying to live in the moment, man.
This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by R&R Pipeline Inc., an infrastructure company. Join our team today at rrpipelineinc.com. Dude, it's so good. I hear people talk about work-life balance, and I laugh when I hear that, because, bro, that ain't going to exist for me. I'm never going to be balanced. By definition of balance in me and what I do, it's not going to be there. But so many people don't lack balance as much as they lack the ability to focus on what they're doing and being present. And I call it intentional attention. But right now you have 100% of me. Nothing else is going on in my life right now. I'm here. I'm fully engaged. I'm in the moment. Just the ability to be all in on what you're doing, no matter what it is. It's really hard, especially in today's age where everything is instant and distractions are at all-time high. But with your family, like being present, being all there, not 1 foot in, 1 foot out, that really changes a lot, just being able to do that just a little bit, let alone all the time.
No, dude, 100%. My 2-year-old usually is trying to bust in here, but like I said, we've been trying to plan this for a while, and
Yeah.
I have to pick and choose when I can nail these times, because then I have my own podcast and my own stuff I got to do, or my own radio here and there. And I was just throwing the soccer ball with him. He was throwing the soccer ball back and forth, my 2-year-old, and even during that time, I was thinking, all right, I got to do this over here, right? So I started to walk over here, and then my wife goes, "Hey, he just looked for you to throw the ball." And I was like, "Yeah." So I mean, just today, and I'm living. I mean, I swear I'm living as good as I can in the moment. But I'm, we're brothers that are constantly thinking ahead. We want this, we want this, we want this. I'm thinking about 5 different things that I want to do, and I stopped myself, came back, and I threw the ball with him for 15 minutes, and that was the most fulfilling part of this day. And I closed my brain. But I think just if you can just give yourself tell yourself to chill out for a second and live in live in a present moment like this right here. Like I was able to cut off everything here and sit here and give you this. Cause I mean, when I met you at Corey's thing, I was like, this guy is the guy that went for it, that, did his thing, and because your message talked to us that day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so I have a lot of respect for what you did. And even like you said, we don't know each other well, but you can tell, and respect can always give each other respect when you see that someone's busting their ass for something. So, but truly living in the present moment is something that, if any, out of all advice, I got 2 of them. I would say, don't quit shit, go for your dreams, and live in the moment. Of course, you're always looking ahead a little bit. We're always wanting something more, but just live in the moment. That's going to forward progress you.
Yeah. Well, you got to have a direction. I mean, if you're just mindlessly wandering, then you're going to end up going nowhere. And so really finding out what path you're on is very important, I think, because I know a lot of people that climb the ladder up this building to what they think is going to be a success. And then they get to the top and realize they were on the wrong fucking ladder, climbing the wrong building. So that dream, man, know what you want out of life and go get it, and just enjoy it along the way. I didn't document my life in the hardest times and the darkest days. And now, I started my podcast in 2023, and G was telling me one day, he's like, man, you just need to document your life. Whether you ever put it out or not, it doesn't matter. Just document what you're doing, because your story is fucking epic. And what I realized, everybody has a great story, but the only bad stories are the ones that are never told. You should be proud of what you've done in your life, man. And, if you're not proud of yourself, who the fuck is going to be proud of you? And when you sit back and think about it, like you said, you're going to win. The results have no option if you just don't quit. As long as you keep going, the results have no choice. By default, you will win if you just don't quit. That's all that it takes. And it's really that simple.
There's a pro wrestler now on WWE Raw. His name's Bronson Reed. And he's pretty famous on WWE. He's in a group called The Vision with Seth Rollins and Logan Paul and Braun Breaker, but he just blew out his shoulder as well. So he's out for like 6 or 7 months, but I don't remember this story, but in 2007, I was reading an interview that he did, and my name got flagged on it. That's why I saw it. It said, "What's the greatest piece of advice you ever got in pro wrestling?" And he said, well, it wasn't advice that I got, but it was advice from Karl Anderson. I saw a young wrestler walk up to him in Adelaide, Australia in 2007 and say, how did you make it? How are you going to make it? What do you expect to do to make it? And I said, man, just don't quit. And he said that he said that might seem like Karl wasn't answering it fully and he didn't know what he wanted to say. And he goes, but that just stuck with me. Like, because it seems so real from him, he said. And so like, that's what I say to people. Literally, man, like, how did you make it, Karl? How did you make it, Chad? I'm like, dude, I really don't know. How do I go from, being an unrich kid. We didn't have money growing up. Parents were divorced early, of course. How do you go from here to training in this little shitty wrestling school with no ties to pro wrestling to being at the Orange Bowl at WrestleMania when the Hardy Boys return and there's 80,000 people cheering. How do you go there? And I go, dude, I don't have answers besides just I didn't quit, man. I didn't quit. I didn't let no be an answer, and I just continued going forward.
Dude, I think you just referenced something. What if? That is the question on my deathbed. What if I don't have an answer for that question? What if I would have tried? What if I would have done this? What if I would have done that? What if I would have said no to that thing that got me in this bad place? What if the question is unanswered for me, what if? I'm going to be pissed at the end because I don't ever want to have to look at myself in the mirror and think, what if I would have done this? Like, I can't live with that question. So anytime that comes up and it burns me inside internally, I have this conviction, what if I got to know the answer? And whether it's the answer I want or not, it doesn't matter. I got to go for it. I got to know the answer. And I got to fucking go until, I'll put parameters around it. Like 2 podcast episodes released every week for 2 years. That was the start. No expectations of a return, but I'll do 2 episodes for 2 years straight. Every week, Monday, Friday released. And that was like my bottom line. That was it. Because it's about the commitment of time. If I don't get anything out of it for that point, then I'm good. But I got to at least do that. That's the bare minimum. Dude, it's changed my life. I'm sitting here talking to the machine gun right now on a Wednesday afternoon. Like the people I've met, the connections that I've been able to create, the stories I've heard, it's fucking life-changing, dude. It's a privilege to be able to do this.
No, dude, that's exactly it. And like even now, because I've found new dreams. Like I was stuck in the airport in Atlanta on Monday. I was supposed to fly. I was supposed to be home at 9 a.m. and me and my wife were going to celebrate our anniversary. But so I got to the airport at 6 a.m. and I got home at about 1 a.m. the next morning. But at least I got home that night. But of course, everyone's asleep. But and of course, I had some negative moments during the day. And then during those negative moments, hold on a second, let me do this. So I sat down because me and Gallows are in the middle of writing writing our first book, right? So we want to make sure this happens. And so I kept looking at this, dude. This is an opportunity for me when I don't get an opportunity at home, when I have kids stuff that I got to do, I've got stuff like this I got to do, or I've got to go on the road. I don't get a chance to write what I want to write. And I was able to handle a lot of things that I wanted to handle. And while I was handling shit that I wanted to handle for my book, I look at my Instagram DMs, and a self-publishing book company messaged me and was excited that I'd followed them a couple of weeks ago even, and said, hey, we'd love to jump on a call with Anderson and Gallows. Are you guys looking at writing a book? I mean, that all happened, and I'm not totally into like the whole manifestation. I believe in it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. You can't just say I want to have $1 million and $1 million pops up. Yes, I believe in full-blown manifestation 100%, but that sometimes you get those signs, man, and you got to keep moving forward with them. And I read something in a book recently. Maybe it was, I'm not sure which book it was, but it was like when you get an idea in your head, maybe it was a manifestation book by Roxy Nafausi, but she said something, it was either her or somebody else. It said, when you get something in your head, count down from 5 seconds and do it. If you don't do it, then maybe it wasn't meant to be. And so literally, oh man, I want to, message this self-publishing book person back or not. And I went, fuck, hold on, Chad, 5, 4, 3. And I messaged her right back. Right. So we got a call in a couple of days about it. And so it's those kinds of things, Jacob, that I believe you just got to keep pushing, baby.
Dude, an idea, this vision, this dream that you have without any action right behind of it, it's nothing more than a delusion. It's nothing more than just a thought. I know a lot of people that are very creative and have a lot of great ideas that will never accomplish anything because they want a perfect plan and they want, that perfectionism is a real thing. Perfectionism and procrastination are 1A and 1B. Like they're directly linked to each other because you want it to be perfect, knowing it perfect is an ideal. Bro, you want a plan to go into the place. What's the first and second step? And then go from there and figure it out. If you know what you want out of life in general, you got a general direction. One step, that's all you need, because every 10-step plan is going to end up being blown the fuck up by the third step. Guaranteed. It's never going to go the way we think it will. And normally, though, as long as you don't quit, it's going to be so much better than what would be possible. So I got a stat for you. If I said 1,000,000 seconds, how many days is 1,000,000 seconds? You got any idea?
I have no idea.
So it's 11 days. 1,000,000 seconds is 11 days, okay? 1,000,000,000 seconds, though, you would think is, not something astronomically bigger. Like when you think about it, it's 31 and a half years. 11 days to 31 and a half years. You think about the compound effect. It's downstream. It's daily input with no return for such a long period of time, and then it all comes back. 99% of the people quit before they actually get that return, though. They put in all this hard work and think that they're never going to get it, and that's right when it's getting ready to happen. 3 feet from gold, Think and Grow Rich. Like, so many people get so close to it, and it's the ones like me and you that just don't fucking quit, that actually get everything we want out of life, and it actually is 10x what we could have ever dreamed because we don't quit.
Man, it's so true too. And if you have a burning desire for something, which is in Think and Grow Rich, of course, but you just got to keep going for it and don't worry about the money, right? Even like with this podcast or this, good things start to come. But I just read it in another book a couple of days ago, and I know this, but it said, I should work an hour a day on something. And it's like, yeah, but an hour seems a little overwhelming. When you should be doing 2 hours or whatever, but it's like, why don't you just give yourself 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, promise yourself you can do 15 minutes. You want to write a book? All right, great. Give yourself 15 minutes, write that book for 15 minutes, set the timer, stop it, bam, every day. What happens in those billion seconds is you probably wrote 20 books and you've become a multinational best-selling author. But if you do the 1,000,000 seconds in the 11 days, if you write 15 minutes a day, dude, now you've got chapter 2, written through your book that you can't seem to find the time to get to. Give yourself 15 minutes a day for something. It's that kind of stuff, right?
And start small. Like the compound effect is about establishing a base habit that you can grow over time. It's kind of like going to the gym. I know a lot of people that go all in for this motivated thing, but they never get the discipline in place to continue it because they burn themselves out too early. And I call it the 3S solution. I use this in my coaching program because it's such a basic framework that helped me out a lot. So the 3S is keep it very simple. So what's the desired outcome? Keep it black and white simple. I want to lose 20 pounds in 20 days, right? So something that easy.
I'm writing
Put
this
it
down.
in your schedule. Yeah. So simple was the first one. The schedule is the next one. Put time in your schedule that is non-negotiable. 15 minutes, you block it out, and you are absolutely in it for 15 minutes. 20 pounds I want to lose, 20 days. So 20 days, put it in your schedule that time that you need to go to the gym, to work out, prep your food, whatever. And then the last one are the stakes. What are the stakes if you do it, and what are the stakes if you don't? So many people put an accomplishment out in front of them. If they do this thing, they fucking quit and they don't have any repercussion. So I look at it like this. In 20 days, I'm going to go a steak dinner, right? I lose my weight. I'm going to go enjoy a nice steak dinner. If I don't do it, though, if I don't lose the weight, I got to shave my head. Like, I got some pretty good looking hair. You know what I mean? I got an ugly ass fucking head. This is a big ass dome. If I have to shave my head, I'm not going to die, but I'm going to be pissed off for a few weeks until it grows back. So it's like that thing. I don't want that to happen. So it's that subtle reminder. If I don't do this, here's what's got to happen. And I'm telling the machine gun about it because that's my accountability guy. So you got to tell someone else about it. And bro, I'm telling you what, that basic little structure, incredibly powerful. Simple,
Dude,
schedule, the stakes.
No, that's incredible. The 3 S's, simple, schedule, stakes. I absolutely love that. And Corey met me in 2020, which was probably my most insane, because I've had some insanity ups and downs with a lot of, and I will say in 2020 with wrestling, personally, I was pretty insane because we got fired from WWE, but we were super quote unquote famous and hot, as in like this place wanted us, this place wanted us. Even during COVID, we thrived. So, but I was so angry with what happened with WWE that I put all of my anger into this professional stuff that we were doing, which thrived and did awesome and did amazing. But personally, I was a little too like wacky. So Corey's actually seen me in like, some of the most insane, in some of my most insane times, and helped me through some of those most insane times. He might not even know he did, but and now that I'm able to kind of back out now and see where I'm at, 2.5 years away from, what was probably holding me back the most, which would have been alcohol. That's where I'm able to see, I'm able to pick apart what I've done and how I can fix some of the shit that I did without living in this state of regret, because I can't live like that. All that shit that I did before, stuff that I've done before, like, it's all happened for a reason. And it's taught me so much to be able to keep moving forward and do what I'm doing now.
Dude, I love it. One of my core values in my coaching program, I call it my power values, but win or learn, you never lose. You have to win, desired outcome, got it, or you learn from whatever happened that didn't get your desired outcome. If you accept loss, you're basically quitting or accepting failure. But the only time that you really fail is if you just don't get back up and keep going. Back to that, don't quit. So you got to win or learn. You never lose. And that's just a mentality for me in my life. If I accept a loss, man, that's just a painful learning lesson. That's not an L. You know what I mean? So I look at it differently, but it's just about getting up more times than you fall down.
Yeah, and I've seen guys that got released with us in 2020. I see a couple of guys that were in that class that got fired that just disappeared from pro wrestling. And they asked us a bunch of questions during that time. And we were saying, well, how about this, this, and this? Like, we're trying to, keeping them moving. But they just they weren't made of the right stuff or whatever it is. But, and like you said, with a podcast, you gave yourself, you said you're going to do 2 episodes a week. And dude, having a podcast or having a show like that, this shit is not easy. People think it is. You've got to come with the consistency. You've got to come with topics. You just got to be there for the fans that start to listen to you. And you're going to get some pushback as well, because you might say shit that people don't like, and you got to be prepared to take some negative comments and think, oh man, I wish I didn't say that. I mean, you got to wipe that out of your memory. You got to come on these things, and you got to have balls to be able to say what you're going to say and not worry about people talking shit about you, and you can't worry about people hyping you up and saying how great you're doing, because that can make you fall off the cliff too, because you start thinking you're the shit. I've got a burning desire to have a radio show. I've got a burning desire to have a podcast. You've got a burning desire to have a podcast. You just got to go do it. Cut all the bullshit out. Set aside how many times you're going to do it a week, just like you said you did, and go.
Love it. My 2 biggest fears of my entire life, from the time I was a young kid up until probably a handful of years ago, having my shirt off in front of other people, because I grew up a fat kid that was very insecure. And because of that insecurity, the second one was being in the spotlight of any sort. So raising my hand in school when I was still in school, being on camera, doing a speaking event. The 2 biggest fears of my life, I have faced them every day. Now I laugh at fucking fear, and I'm in full control. I'll take my shirt off even if I'm not feeling good and it's freezing cold and I'm not even sweating. I'll take my shirt off just as a subtle reminder, fuck you to fear. When I look in that mirror, I'm winning that day. I will not allow it to control me. I don't run from it. I run toward it, and I take it and put it under my arm and say, come on, little bitch, come with me. I'm in control, because we all have it. We don't face it, it gets bigger. And we think that by avoiding it, we're controlling it. But you face that thing, dude. Be the buffalo, run into that storm. Don't be the cow running away from it. Face the thing. And here's the other part. Like, outside of death, every failure in life is psychological. So we've all had challenges and chaos and these catastrophic events in our life. Bro, there is not a single thing that me and you have not faced that we have not survived, because we're right here right now. We're alive and well. Everything we've struggled with, we survived. So you just got to keep going. The only way is through sometimes. And knowing that at the end of it, when you can reflect on it, I think that's the powerful thing about it. The ironic tragedy of life is that it must be lived forward, with every decision that we make being in that present moment that ultimately shapes the future we can't see yet. So knowing that, life itself only makes sense when we look back in reverse and we can connect the dots. we never know why these things happen, dude. But when they do happen, and we can look back at them like, holy shit, I could have never scripted that. That was meant to happen. This bad thing was meant to happen so I could get strong enough for this good thing. And then you think about like moments of time. Never set your self-worth on a moment of time. Like any isolated thing, you cannot die on that like hill right there. You got to learn from it no matter what, because you have to keep going. As long as you're still breathing, you got to deal with it either way. You got to overcome it. I love this quote. I'm going to read it to you. I don't know about you, but I hope that either all of us or none of us are judged by the actions of our weakest moments, but rather by the strength we show when and if we are given a second chance. Love it.
Dude. I love that. Like I said, once I was able to kind of kick out of the bullshit that I've done to my own self, which I brought upon, and like I like to blame other people a lot of times. I like to blame the WWE for pissing me off, or blame TNA, Impact Wrestling for this or for that. But once I was able to kind of go, you know what, that was you, dude. Like, you know, and now I'm happy that I had all those failures, man. I'm glad I've been released by WWE 2 times. Gallows has been released by WWE 3 times. And people are like, dude, what's it feel like to be fired by WWE? Well, I'll tell you this much. Just 3 weeks ago, WWE called us and had us on Monday Night Raw, to go for AJ Styles' retirement tribute show. So like, how many times have you been on Monday Night Raw? You know, so now I'm starting to realize that, like, hey, it is what it is. But on top of the fact that when the 2.5 years I was with Raw, with WWE this last time, I kept thinking about rocking with, I got to get this. I want to do this podcast stuff. Like I was always obsessed with Howard Stern. I was always obsessed with Jim Rome. And I used to sit inside my Bronco or my Explorer after I would hit the gym, and I would go before I had to go to work, and I would listen to the last hour of Jim Rome. And I used to think, man, I wonder if someday, and I would practice being a guest on the Jim Rome show, you know, and who thinks that's ever going to happen? Well, and, you know, in 2018, I went into studio with Jim Rome, and, you know, and Jim Rome and I is a friend of mine that texts with frequently. It's like, you know, the thing is you get to get those, that's not, and I'm not bragging when I say that, it's just saying, when you go from here to there, it's insanity that where you can go when you can just say, I'm glad this happened because that means now that this happens. I mean, we got released in 2020, and one of the first people to message me was Jim Rome, you know, and another person to message me is Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And like, they're all like, if you didn't leave some kind of mark on these guys, no one's messaging you, making sure you're good. And it's like, you know what? I don't have any regrets for that. And I'm glad that things have worked out. I'm glad that these failures happened because I'm glad I changed from having a fixed mindset to having a growth mindset and being able to learn from that shit that used to would have fucked me up. Go, oh, fuck, that sucks. But hold on a second. Like being stuck in Atlanta, I could have lost my mind and been like, fuck this, man. But I got 9 things done with what I wanted to get done. And it turned into a great day. Like, so yeah, keep moving. Again, it always goes back to don't quitting and moving and keep moving forward, yeah. You know? So,
you know, what a fucking privilege it is to have been fired from the WWE twice, my friend. Like, yeah. What a privilege it is to even get on that platform. To be fired twice is such a fucking privilege. Like, that's how I would look at it, because very few people will ever want to go do it. And such a small margin of people that actually have any burning desire. Think about how many fans watch them shows every night. And that stadium probably couldn't be filled with a lifetime full of wrestlers that made it on that stage. And you think about like the amount of people that actually get there and they can say, I've been fired from this thing twice. Yeah. Fucking congratulations, dude. Like, oh, you lost the Super Bowl? Okay, I'll take that. Like, I mean, think about how big of an accomplishment it is just to be able to say, I was on WWE. Like, that's massive, bro.
It's massive. And like all of my dreams came true. Like since I was a 5-year-old, you know, and like I said, this last year's been so fulfilling because we've been doing independent wrestling shows. We've worked for Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. We're going to Australia in May and back to Japan, and we're going to Tijuana and wherever we're going. Every weekend it's somewhere else. But we're seeing, you know, fans that I've been getting this one a lot is, oh man, dude, I watched you when I was in 8th grade, man. You guys were so cool. You and Gallows and AJ Styles. Like, I mean, I've gotten that a lot this year. And it's been pretty cool to see the amount of lives that were in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and even 10-year-olds that watched us when they were at their most prevalent time of falling in love with professional wrestling, and they remember the Bullet Club, they remember the club. And I've been able to meet these people on the road. That has been, it's been so cool. And again, I don't have the regrets for that. I'm glad that shit happened. It has been giving me this opportunity now.
Dude, what a privilege, man. Congratulations. You're living the life of your dreams. So Karl Machine Gun Anderson, tell the people all the shit you got going on, where they can find you, where they can see you at. I mean, my God, that's a laundry list, but throw it all out there where everyone could find you at. Learn more about Karl the Machine Gun Anderson.
Yeah, you can go on X. I'm at Machine Gun KA. Instagram is at Machine Gun KA. I don't use TikTok much, but it's at Karl Anderson 24. That's more of the Gen Alpha world. I'm trying to get used to it, but you can go there, dude. You can find us. You can find Talkin' Shop, TALKNSHOP, on all podcast platforms. And we go live every Wednesday night on YouTube, which has been a real fun thing to just do a live setting. And you can find us in Canada next weekend, Chicago next weekend, Tijuana and Washington this weekend. I'll be in Las Vegas WrestleMania weekend for a million things, and in Japan and Australia in April, May, and June, and on. So just check out my socials and you'll be able to see it. But I appreciate you guys having me, man. It's been a blast.
Yeah, my dude, I appreciate your time. I cannot thank you enough for it. I'm glad we got to connect the dots here at the last minute, so that worked out well. Karl Machine Gun Anderson, thank you so much, dude. This was an absolute privilege. Hope to see you soon. I don't know when you'll be back in town, but whenever you are, let's get a workout in for sure. And until next time, man, great talking shop with you.
Dude, keep inspiring the people with simple schedule and stakes. Now I'm on it, man. I wrote it down, brother. No, keep doing. I like seeing your face pop up on social. I know you're going to say something that might slap me in the face or something, because we all, like I said, we all might feel down for a second. And if you get on social media and your face pops up and you say something inspiring shit, might change somebody's day for a second. So keep rocking.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate it a lot. So Karl Anderson, thanks again. This has been another edition of the Iron and Infrastructure podcast with the motherfucking machine gun. Until next time, we're out.
Thank you.